It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to.
I won't say his name.
Whitney Houston and Bobbi Brown's baby girl, Bobbi Kristina Brown, been gone for a minute now, y'all. But her daddy Bobby's still out here saying the whole mess around her passing ain't adding up right. And listen, he ain't the only one. Plenty folks been whispering the same. Bobby done ran his mouth a bunch of times, even up to now, about how Chrissy's ex, Nick Gordon, might have had his hands dirty in not just her death, but Whitney's too. Chile, word is there's a whole lot of tea we ain't even sipped yet.
I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobbi Kristina.
What killed Bobbi Kristina?
Bobbi Kristina was starved to death.
Nick Gordon, the things that are being said by him recently, how do you approach that?
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all over again.
They saying Chrissy knew the real deal about what went down with her mama. And honey, the creepy way their deaths line up, folks swear it was all set up like that on purpose. Oh, and don't get me started. I heard tell she was right there when her mama was going toe-to-toe with folks like Clive and them. You know it's messy.
And then it's Grammy time. And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
So what exactly did Chrissy know about her mama's death, y'all? And was it tied up in her own passing? Let's dive right in, cause I'm ready to spill it. Okay, so a little background. Bobbi Kristina grew up with them cameras flashing all in her face. She was popping up next to Whitney left and right, like when she was just 8 months old, chilling in that Barbara Walters interview. Then at one, she was out there on stage at the 1994 American Music Awards while her mama snatched up that award. Now, when Whitney passed, Chrissy took it hard, honey, real hard. She was one of the ones hurting the most, even ended up in the hospital after she broke down when they found her mama's body in that Beverly Hills hotel room. But listen, she pulled herself together and put on a strong face for the funeral and then memorial services. In them days after Whitney left us, the spotlight was blazing on Chrissy even more. Her family tried to shield her, but she still stepped out, joined a Tyler Perry series, then bounced from it, hit up the Billboard Music Awards, and even sat down with Oprah for a tell-all plus a few other public moments. But Chile, it breaks my heart because she didn't get to carry her mama's legacy much longer. On January 31st, 2015, it all came to a stop. Too soon, y'all. Chrissy was found all lifeless up in that Georgia crib she was holding down with Nick Gordon, knocked out cold in a bathtub. Girl, just like her mama went out. She held on till July 26, 2015 when she passed in hospice. They said her death came down to drowning mixed with all kind of mess in her system, according to the Fulton County Medical Examiner. That toxicology report found mar alcohol, a Coca-Cola related substance sedative, and anti-anxiety medications and morphine in her system. Honey, and it was a lot. But them folks at the medical examiner's office couldn't figure out if she meant to go out like that or if it was just a bad accident. They just threw their hands up and said, the underlying cause of death is the condition which starts the downhill course of events, leading to death, and in this case is the immersion associated with intoxication, the pneumonia and encyclopedia causes, which resulted from the immersion and drug lotion. Now, Bobbi Kristina's passing hit way too close to home, because it was given deja vu to her mama's death. Whitney left us on February 11, 2012 at 48, found unresponsive and sunk down in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. Chile, the parallels was loud, and it still got folks shook. From what them reports say, Whitney's death came down to an accidental drowning in that tub, y'all. Them toxicology results, they showed a little bit of Coca-Cola up in her body. You heard me. Plus, they found traces of Xanax and some other stuff floating around in her system too. Now, the official word was that Whitney might have had a heart attack, something about her arteries getting all hard and blocked up, making her pass out and sink under that water. But hold up, here's the tea. The coroner ain't find no real proof of no heart episode or nothing like that. So that whole heart attack story, Chile, it's sounding like a cover-up to me. Fact is, the coroner only said Whitney had some mild heart disease and a little artery blockage, like what you see with folks who smoke a lot. So this idea she just fell in the tub because of a heart attack? Nah, the autopsy report ain't backing that up. And them Coca-Cola levels? Coroner said it looked like she had some, but not enough to take her out. So honey, folks been sitting around asking the same damn question ever since. What really made her go under that water? Cause something ain't adding up, and we still out here trying to connect the dots. In that tub full of scalding water, girl, Whitney was stuck deep, couldn't even pull herself out. And then something else popped up after she passed. They said there wasn't enough water in her lungs to prove she drowned. Now hold up, that's making it real likely somebody put her in that bathtub, and she didn't just pass out while she was soaking. And you know whose names keep circling around Whitney's shady ass death? Chrissy's ex, Nick Gordon, and Ray J. Honey, they stay in the mix.
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobbi Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beaten. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
Now, Ray J was the last one we saw Whitney tied up with in public, but there ain't nobody was calling them a real couple. They was on again, off again, never owned up to being official. On the day Whitney passed, Ray J swore up and down he wasn't at that party. But Chile, folks who was there said he was lying through his teeth. One story even had Brandy out here looking for her brother at the party. Now why's she asking for him if he wasn't even round? Folks started side-eyeing Ray J hard when they saw him and Raffles rushing out the back with Brandy Burnside that same night. And you know Raffles couldn't stand Ray J, so what's really good? The tea's still hot on this one? So why was Ray J kinda helping Raffles sneak out the spot like that? Chiley, it's messy. And then to stir the pot even more, Lola Brown, y'all know Bobbi Brown's sister, Whitney's ex-husband's kin, came out swinging right after Whitney passed. She said Ray J was the one hooking Whitney up with whatever she was messing with, probably even slid her a bad bag that did her in.
I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? I looked and I said, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding his face? He's always trying to show his face when he's around Whitney. Why now? Why are you trying to hide now, Ray J? And I put it all together. When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag.
Cocaine?
Yes. I promise you, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I saw Ray J, and it all added up.
Now, it don't help Ray J's case that Whitney, right before she left us, slipped a note to his sister Brandy when she crashed that interview with Brandy, Monica, and Clive. And honey, Brandy's still acting all tight-lipped about it. In another sit-down, she straight up said, I'm going to just not say what it was and keep it to myself for my own personal reason. Keeping it locked up. But folks out here swear Whitney passed that note to Brandy in front of them cameras on purpose. Like she knew something might go down. When she handed it over, she was playing it slick, keeping Monica and Clive's attention so Brandy could peep it real quick. I mean, it don't even add up. The Whitney Houston, busting into a recorded interview, wet but fully dressed, just to say, hey, pass a note to Brandy, and plan a kiss on her at the end? Nah, something fishy there. And if you listen close, you'll catch her whispering something too. Girl, what was she trying to say? The whole thing got us all side-eyeing and wondering. Girl, I damn near drowned today. Phew. Anyway, folks been peeping how Brandy always running her mouth about the good stuff. But when it's messy, she clams up tight. And that can only mean one thing. That note Whitney slipped her was bad news, honey. You could see it all over her face when Whitney handed it over, like she knew something heavy was up. Anywho, people been whispering forever that Chrissy figured out the real tea on what happened to her mama. Word on the street, she even had the receipts to back it up. From what Jaguar spilled, Chrissy was right there when Whitney was going at it with folks at the spot where she passed.
And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
Now, they got theories floating around that Clive might have had a hand in Whitney's death. And if Chrissy was in the mix during them blowouts they had, you best believe she caught some stuff she wasn't supposed to hear. Then boom, Whitney just happens to check out at a Clive party? Chile, that ain't adding up. And don't even get me started on Chrissy's death, the way it mirrored her mama's. That mess never made sense either, especially with all the drama swirling around her and Nick Gordon. Something shady's been cooking, and we still out here trying to piece it all together.
A young man who swears to God that he loves my niece, but yet you drag her up the steps, you pull her by her hair. You pull her by her hair and you punch her in the face and you knock 2 of her teeth out of her mouth?
So word is Chrissy was gearing up to head out to LA to celebrate her daddy Bobby's birthday with the fam. And honey, it wasn't just a quick trip. She was planning to make it a permanent move to stay tight with Bobby and get her career poppin'. Reports say she was hype as hell to carry on her mama's legacy, and she couldn't wait to be closer to her pops and build that bond with him. But Nick? Oh, he wasn't trying to have that. He didn't want her near nobody because he knew the second Chrissy bounced, it was curtains for him. Donezo. They even say she was supposed to link up with a homegirl that same day they found her in that tub, just to spill the tea that Nick wasn't the dude she thought he was. Something was brewing, and it's got all kinds of shady written all over it. So, according to folks close to Chrissy, the day she was ready to lay it all out to Nick about her big plans, she was already lit and mad as hell. Nick strolls in from being out somewhere and bam, they get into it, arguing up a storm. Then Nick flips out, attacks her, and leaves her laid out in the room all by herself. That's why they say she was messed up, y'all. Not long after, Chrissy got moved to hospice care, and her court-appointed conservator wasn't playing. They filed a complaint against Nick Gordon to get some justice for her. In that paperwork, they hit him with causing serious bodily harm and stealing cash by fronting like he was Bobbi Kristina's husband. Chile, the conservator, even came back with an updated complaint, pointing the finger at him for Chrissy's wrongful death. They said the two had it out real bad, and Nick slipped her some toxic mix that knocked her out cold before he dumped her face down in that tub. And listen, Bobbi Brown, he's out here saying Nick Gordon was around for both Whitney's and Chrissy's deaths, and he's damn near convinced that fool had something to do with both of them going out like that. Whew, it's a whole mess. But Nick, he swore up and down them accusations wasn't true, even had the nerve to point the finger at Chrissy's daddy, Bobbi Brown, saying he's the one to blame for her going out like that. Problem is, Nick checked out a few years later his damn self, so now ain't nobody left who can really say what went down with Whitney and Chrissy, whether them deaths was tied together and planned out or not. Look, y'all, I ain't sure if Nick was the mastermind behind both or if some big shot pulled his strings. But what I do know is this. Whitney's and Chrissy's deaths, they ain't never made a lick of sense to nobody. I mean, don't them similarities creep you out just a little bit? What y'all think? Nick did it solo, or was he just a puppet for somebody way more powerful? Spill that tea in the comments down below, fam. Let's get this convo poppin'.